people are fearful that they've missed the boat or that they are joining the party too late because there's now too much competition there, right? So it's true that competition has increased across the market. Of course, there are more competitors. However, there's also more demand. Well, if we look at the reason why people might think that it's too late to begin dropshipping, if you dive a level deeper than that, then it comes down to competition. People are fearful that they've missed the boat or that they are joining the party too late because there's now too much competition there, right? So it's true that competition has increased across the market. Of course, there are more competitors. However, there's also more demand because the internet and the adoption of online shopping has increased as well. But I think even if that hadn't happened, remember that competition exists because there's demand. Otherwise, none of the competitors would be in business. So the way that I like to think about this, which I think frees you up again, I like to kind of adopt these mental models that allow you to think in abundance and not be limited by scarcity-based beliefs. For competition to exist in a market, there must be a lot of demand for those products. So I was at an outdoor food market recently, one of those things where you've got all the food trucks and food stalls. There's probably 20 different food stalls there. And I was walking through and kind of looking at how all of them were doing. And there were a few people ordering from all of them, right? So there was plenty of demand and there was lots of supply as well. But one or two of those food trucks had like a queue of maybe 6 or 7 people at them. And so amidst that competition, there were so much competition, they had stood out. They had made a unique selling point because they had amazing food, great menu, or even because they had a queue. And so people thought, hey, that's popular. I want to go and join that queue because other people must know something that I don't know. What you could argue what it would be, but they were attracting a disproportionate level of demand based on the competition because they'd done something to stand out. So do you think that any of those food trucks, the owners of those food trucks, the morning before that food market began, said to themselves, unless we go there today and get 100% of the customers, we're not going? Do you think they said, it's too competitive at that food market, so we're just not going to go? Or did they say, well, there's clearly demand there. What can we do to add more value, to stand out, to attract a disproportionate slice of that market? Because the key is you find areas where there's lots of demand, and then you just go and differentiate your offer, right? And this is what we see some of our members within the Dropship Unlocked program do best by doing. And it's where they enter a market that might be quite busy, it might be quite competitive, but they go into it not viewing it as a scarcity play where they think, my slice is only going to be tiny because it's so competitive. Instead, they think, well, how do I grow the market? How do I bring more people into the market that maybe weren't even in there originally looking for those products? And how do I attract a wider share of that market than maybe I would get if I just showed in and did the bare minimum, right? So that comes down to adding value to customers, and it's how they can make better offers, whether that be things like product bundles, whether they have better free gifts that they can give to customers that causes customers to choose them over their competitor. If that's a digital download, if you don't want to give away another physical product gift, you can give some kind of like ebook or buyer's guide or something. Even down to like user experience, having easier to navigate websites or mobile optimized websites when the rest of your competitors are all in the prehistoric desktop, laptop website designed age. You come in with a mobile first, ultra fast loading website. So I think my advice to listeners who are thinking, is it too late? Don't be discouraged by the competition, which is the underlying worry if you're thinking that you might be too late to it. Instead, use that competition and use that demand as a motivator for you to go into that market and be the food truck that has the queue of 7 people by it, rather than the one that's just getting a few sales here and there. Because either way, you can make a full-time business, but you can make a booming business if you go into a busy market and stand out.
It's really reassuring to hear that. And it's the way you view competition. You can decide how you view it. It doesn't all have to be doom and gloom. You can think about it in other ways, which is Lewis has just explained. And also, actions speak louder than words as well. So I've started a new store this year with the dropshipping business fulfillment model again. So not only do we talk about this, but we actively believe it, and we're starting new stores ourselves today. So clearly, I don't think it's too late, and I don't think people listening in should either. And hopefully that illustrates the point.
That's a really good point. And let me ask you then, so you've started a store this year, 2023. So many people saying dropship is dead, it died off, it was a 2017 thing. Are you making sales with the store you've just started?
It's already profitable. It's only been a few months actually going now, but already it's profitable in 2023. And we've gone into markets, I'm sure some people might suggest that there's lots of competition or too competitive, but it doesn't stop me, because I know that we can add more value to that market and we can have our own unique spin on certain ways we do things. And I know that without going into it with a scarcity mindset, instead of an abundance mindset and controlling things that I can control, I can make that business a real success in today's day and age and in any year moving forward. So Lewis, what specific opportunities do exist in today's dropshipping market?
There are so many new opportunities emerging and will continue to emerge. So I think our role as entrepreneurs, as business owners, needs to be keeping at the forefront of these things and making sure that we're adopting these new technologies to maintain relevance in an ever-changing world. So over the last few years, because of what happened in the world, the huge events that shook up the world, people's habits fundamentally changed forever, in that they made a transition. People who would not have ordinarily purchased some things online were forced to. And now when they realized how easy it was, they're not going back, right? So this is why shopping habits have changed dramatically forever. More people are now buying online than ever. So that in itself is just an opportunity right there. Just the size of the overall market that it has expanded means that there's now more demand, more opportunity for us as e-commerce sellers. But then within the market itself, there have also been huge technological advancements. So for example, we've now got some incredible AI tools that can help us as retailers with things like ad copy, ad creative, image generation, audio generation, website performance, customer service. Like, the list is endless, you know? And so I think there are always two ways that you can look at these things. Are you a glass half full or a glass half empty kind of a person, right? These changes are happening. And so it's like a changing tide in the sea. You can either deny it and just dig your heels in and say, no, I'm not changing, like the old incumbent retailers who aren't evolving, who will end up being swept out to sea by the tide, right? Because they're going to go against it. They're going to fight against nature and the evolving market. Or you're a glass half full person. You adapt it, and you adapt your business to the rising tide, to the changes, and you ride the wave. You benefit from the tide. And so that momentum that it gives you allows you to really bolster your business and to thrive in the changing market conditions. So I think the overarching practical advice to anybody listening right now who's thinking, but there's so much change happening, like, how do I do it? Embrace that change, learn about it. Get around a community who are teaching and talking about this stuff and implementing it every day. That will give you the edge over the old retailers who are refusing to adopt and adapt, and you will become relevant and you will start to steal market share.
Hopefully people take that on board and can take that away with them after listening to today's episode.